Good evening. It's Anne Woodcock from FishPal. I have a very, very special live this evening. I have Paul Young, actor, presenter, renowned angler, and host of the BAFTA award-winning Hooked on Fishing TV series. Good evening, Paul, and thank you for joining me.
Anne, and thank you for that very, very generous introduction.
Oh, and I forgot to mention as well, everybody, is that he's interviewed the Beatles 3 times. I found that out whilst I was chatting to you. Well, we've already got people on the live. We've got a young angler on the live, Cheyenne Stronach. Good evening, Cheyenne. I'm really looking forward to obviously the rest of the Stronach family coming on as well. She's a talented female angler, and she's also a farmer. So good for you. Now, Paul, the reason we're here is Hooked on Fishing has actually gone on to Fishing TV. It's all been digitally remastered. Tell us a little bit about the Hooked on Fishing TV series and how did Fishing TV get hold of it?
Well, it's all down to a collusion between Ed Burgess of Fishing TV and Ricky Walker, who was the producer, director, cameraman, editor, and genius behind the Hooked on Scotland and Hooked on Fishing. We managed to locate all the programs, over 100 programs that we made, starting out in Scotland and then traveling worldwide later on. And Ed has kind of digitally remastered them and is slowly putting some of the old programs, starting out with the Hooked on Scotland programs, putting them online where you can either rent them or hire them. And I think it's fabulous just to see the fact that we made these programs in the 1989, 1990 time, how things have changed over the years. And also the fact that we got to some places that people didn't even know there were fish or didn't know what kind of fish they were. I think we were the first people that showed tarpon and bonefish and permit and the big sea trout of South America and things like that. So I think we were quite innovative at the time, and that was, as I say, a lot of it down to Ricky.
Yeah, and we're going to come to the rest of the world, and it's just we've been given so many great pieces of footage here, and it's a bit like I'm like a child in a kiddie shop here, looking at all the different footage we've got. Let's start with Scotland because Scotland is your home, and that's where Hooked on Fishing started, didn't it?
Well, it started out as Hooked on Scotland. I think Ricky went to the BBC and said, fishing program, and they went, what, 2 old men sitting by a canal under an umbrella? And then Ricky sort of said, no, hang on, Scotland, most beautiful country in the world. We've got lochs, we've got rivers, we've got this. And we went away and we made a wee demo. And shortly afterwards, they came back to Ricky and said, yep, you've got a series. So that was kind of how it started. And we made it, because Ricky's a fisherman and I'm a fisherman, we kind of knew what fishermen liked. So when we made the programs and the BBC saw them, there were a lot of non-anglers who loved watching them because it showed Scotland off to its natural beauty. And there was an old woman said to me once, she said, I love your program, son. It's no you I'm looking at, it's the scenery. And I thought, that's exactly what it's about. And it was because, again, Ricky said, we're not going to catch the biggest, we're not going to catch the most, we're just going to be with you and your guide where you are that day. And I think that was the secret of the program.
Yeah, and we've got the first of our clips. We've got Kath Ness, and I just love this. Let's show this. We've got lots of people coming into this feed as well. We've got Chile in the feed as well, Paul, wow. and everybody saying hi to you. Just to let you know,
one of the favorite places that I've visited: Chile, Argentina, South America. Fabulous.
Well, everybody, that is coming in the show as well. So let's do. We've got a fun-packed an hour, everybody. So we're going to show you a little bit of what you can expect for Scotland.
Oh, that's a fish.
Yes.
Yes, he's there.
Yes. Oh, goodness.
He's a good.
You see the tail?
Yes.
Oh dear. Coming towards us.
I know, we don't want to come round with backward.
Oh, well, we'll be all right. Whoa! Oh, look at that one go. I got a wee sight of it there. I don't think it's very well hooked. What a perfect take. Just see the tail lazily coming from there, eh?
Absolutely brilliant.
And look at that, what a setting. The hills of Sutherland in the distance. Ah, fabulous. Oh, this is the way to do it, eh?
Oh, what?
I mean, it's fun well, fun in January and February, but there's nothing to beat the floating line and small flies, and you see them coming at it.
When you actually see that back come out of the water.
That'd be oh, yeah.
It's a good fish.
Well, everyone, we've just stopped at that tempting bit, and I've got goose pimples because we've got literally people coming in from across the globe here to say hello to you, Paul. And we've got Ed Burgess who's putting things in, saying stay tuned for the classic clip when Paul loses his rod. But tell us a little bit about where you were fishing there, Paul, please.
That was where the River Thurso comes out of Loch Beg at the top of the river. So the salmon come up all the length of the River Thurso, and then they come into the loch and then go out to the burns to spawn. So just before they get into the loch, with Eddie McCarthy, the guide, Fast Eddie he's known as, because that's how he drives up the Strath. He was saying a good place to fish is just across the stream there, just before the salmon go into the loch. And with the Gilly Morris Murray, managed to hook that salmon and play it around it. And as I say, in the background, the hills of Sutherland, absolutely fabulous.
And the thing I loved about that is that you're actually talking about the scenery around you as well, and it's just inviting everybody to watch it, aren't you?
Yeah. Ricky kept saying, "Talk to your audience, tell them what you're seeing." And that was kind of part of it. And also, it made it awkward sometimes. He would say, "Talk to the camera," so you had to turn around away from the fish and not watch what you're doing. And of course, normally when you're fishing, you're always watching what you're doing. But we managed to do it together for goodness knows how many years.
Well, we've got some footage about you watching what you're doing a bit later on. I've got Chris Blake here. We've got lots of questions that have come into the feed as well, and lots of people have been really looking forward to having you on this.
I saw some nice comments coming up.
Lots. Now, Chris Blake, he said, "I have a question. Where's your most memorable part of Scotland to fish?"
Well, it depends whether you're fishing to make a film or just fishing for your relaxation. One of my favourite places to fish was a little river in the northeast of Scotland called the River Helmsdale. It's quite an exclusive place, quite difficult to get onto. But when you do, as you come down the river or go up the river, there's not one pool that you look at where you don't think, "Oh, I could get a fish there."
And we were chatting about the Helmsdale because you did a couple of the programs with the late Bruce Sanderson, and obviously trout fishing. And I've got a trout fishing question for you as well. And you've got Bruce, who was doing a prayer, obviously, to the trout gods. You walk over the hill, and then you've got an interview with Dame Barbara Cartland. What was that all about?
Well, she used to fish the Helmsdale. She was a regular on the River Helmsdale, and of course she said in the interview, "Oh, darling, fishing's not all that difficult. I caught 5 or 6 salmon every day." But then that's because she was on the Helmsdale, not on the River Kelvin here. But Bruce, the sequence we did with Bruce, he sang to the rainbow trout. He said, I can't remember the song, but he said, "Where sheep gently graze." And he sang that, and he cast out and hooked a fish right away. It was fabulous television.
Oh, and the thing is that we've got another question as well, and obviously we've got Gordon McLean. He said, "Do you remember when you were fishing the D at Ardo about 1989 or the North Escott Morphy when you actually dropped the fish at the net?"
Yes, yeah, absolutely. These are the ones you always remember. You know, the fish that you catch, you think, oh, that's great. But the ones that just escape beside the net, these are the ones that go through your mind when you're going off to sleep at night. And there's quite a few of them. But the great thing about that is if it was being filmed by Ricky or Mike Shepley, our other collaborator on the program, if it was being filmed and it got off, at least people knew you'd actually hooked it.
Yeah. Now I've got Pud Murray, fabulous Gilly on the Tweed.
The junction pool in the Tweed.
The wonderful, and he said, ask you about the programme you made on the Tay at Stanley with Geordie and Bugsby. When the programme finished, there was a running fish on the fly, and what was the weight of it?
110 pounds, Pud.
Was it that big?
Biggest salmon ever. No, I honestly, I think it was mid-teens or something like that. But it was a good day when Jim Miller brought the Taygillies down to the Tweed, and we had a lovely time there fishing the junction pool. I mean, that's choice water where the Teviot joins the Tweed. It's absolutely fabulous fishing.
Yeah, and a programme of two chaps just doing nothing but fishing that you were talking about right at the start when you pitched this to the BBC. The Mortimer and Whitehouse, they were on there last year, weren't they?
Yeah, well, they're 30 years behind us.
Precisely. So destination-wise, we have, can I say, we've got Norway coming in here as well. We've got Ireland coming into this feed. Everybody from across the globe is tuning into this. And huge thank you to everybody who is tuning into this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I really appreciate it.
Oh, well, this feed's going so fast that I'm actually missing questions to ask you. So I apologise. We've got Steve O'Neill, Tell Paul, best fishing programme ever made. I've actually got Stuart Cunningham. He said, this is fantastic news about the programme's been digitally remastered. Would love to see the old Hooked on Scotland shows as well.
Yeah,
which you've got. Yeah. And I've got loads of these coming in as well. So destination wise, let's go to Argentina. You know, how do you get an invitation to Argentina, Paul?
Well, a friend of ours, Doug Limburn, had been down in Argentina previously. They said to Ricky, you know, you should go down to Argentina and fish Rio Gallegos in Patagonia, or go into the Rio Grande in Tierra del Fuego for the big sea trout. And he kind of organized it. We went down there, and it's incredible. You're in Tierra del Fuego. The nearest place here is Antarctica, and you're fishing for sea trout, which are progeny of brown trout that were introduced from the UK in the 1930s. But these fish have grown. They go to the South Atlantic to feed. They come back into the freshwater to breed. And they're 10, 12, 15, 20, 25, and even larger than that. So, I mean, the fishing's fantastic. The wind is fierce. You've got to keep covered up. The waves break over your head. It's absolutely stimulating fishing. And you hook these fish. You know, a sea trout like that will take you 20 minutes to play and land. And big fat sea trout, absolutely fantastic.
Well, let's show everybody a little bit of footage from a big fat sea trout. Oops.
It's a good fish. It's a big fish. It's a big fish. On the surface there, just about. Yes! Oh, brilliant. Well done, Alberto. Wow, very heavy, man. The size of that fish. That is a huge fish. Woo! Well done. Well done. That's a huge fish.
Huge.
Brilliant.
Look at that.
Oh, that is an absolute monster. Absolute.
Look at the tail.
Look at the tail. No, it's not just the tail. Look at the whole fish. Oh, fantastico. Big, big cockfish. Obviously, it's been in the water for a little longer than some of the other fish we've had, but look at the size of it. It's a sea trout, remember? It's a sea trout. That fish has got to be, well, I would say it's certainly over 20 pounds, maybe sort of 24, 25 pounds, but a fantastic fish. Alberto, come.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
27 and a half.
27 and a half?
Yeah.
Less £2 for the landing net?
Yes.
That's a 25 pound
This
sea
is the
trout.
monster.
It's a 25 pound sea trout. Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful big fish.
Well, Paul,
Oh, fantastico.
I love it.
Trout maravilloso. And the thing about that, the thing about these fish, everyone goes back. No fish are kept. Every sea trout on the Rio Grande is returned to the water. So it's wonderful fishing.
Well, Paul, I do have Nick Warren. He said, please ask Paul to recount the story of his biggest sea trout in Argentina. I was lucky to be there that week, and it was a monster. Oh, come on, Paul. Tell everybody about this beauty.
Are we talking about this one?
Yes.
That's, yeah. After we finished filming, Ricky very kindly offered to do a kind of a trip to say thank you for us. And he said, where would you like to go? I said, I'd like to go back to Rio Grande. And so we were on the Rio Grande and with Doug Limburn, Ricky and myself. And on one of the days, no cameras, nothing. We were fishing a pool called Julia's. And I got a take and I hooked a fish and played it and played it and played it. It didn't do very much. And as it came round, Diego, the guide, with these huge landing nets, he said, oh, Paul, I think this very big fish. I think this very big fish. And he put the net in and lifted it, and he couldn't lift it out. He went, oh my God, Paul, it's so heavy, I cannot lift it. And when we got it onto the shore, and we didn't weigh it, we measured it, and there's a chart for the fish, and it was between 31 3/4 and 33 pounds, according to length and its girth. So we put it at 32.5 pounds, and that's my kind of fish of a lifetime, a 32.5 pound sea trout.
Absolutely fabulous. And we've got people coming into this feed with so many questions, so many lovely comments as well. We've got, I'm actually going to just quickly answer Gordon Park, because a lot of people are asking, where can we watch these digitally remastered shows? Fishing TV.
It's on Fishing TV. You go on to Fishing TV, and they're putting all the programs on slowly but surely, because there's over 100 programs. The first series of Hooked on Scotland is already on. The second series is just on, and I know that Ed Burgess and all the people at Fishing TV are working hard to get all the rest of our programs, the Hooked on Scottish, and then the Hooked on Fishing programs that we did all around the world, get them there. There's over 100 programs for you to enjoy, whichever your specific interest is, whether it's trout fishing, salmon fishing, whether it's Argentina, Alaska, Florida, or Norway or Russia or whatever. The programs will all be there, and I hope you'll enjoy them.
And the other thing with Fishing TV as well is at the moment they've got some, if you've not been a subscriber before, they've got some free 7-day trials, which is brilliant. Excellent. So you can just sit there and watch you on TV, Paul.
And if you watch them and you enjoy them, let me know. I'm Paul Alexander Young on Facebook. So you can get to me and ask any questions you like about them, and I'll be very happy to answer them. And I hope you enjoy them. Paul Alexander Young on Facebook.
And I know Ed from Fishing TV is sitting in this feed as well. So Ed, will you put the link in so where people can actually click through to go and subscribe to Fishing TV as well, please? You can buy the programs individually as well. So, or you can rent them. Paul, you have been to some amazing destinations, and you were invited on an exploratory trip to a remote island in Mexico. Yeah. Share with the viewers a little bit about how long it took you to get there and what you were catching.
The place is called Clipperton Island. It was named after a pirate called John Clipperton, who used it as a base to attack ships. It's 1,500 miles south of Cabo San Lucas and 1,500 miles west of Costa Rica. It's a tiny, tiny island. It took us. We flew to Los Angeles, and then down to Cabo San Lucas, and then 3 days in a boat to get to Clipperton. We fished on the way, and Clipperton's like a small atoll with a lagoon. We eventually managed to get in. We fished round the island and caught amazing fish, cobia, sailfish, a whole lot of things. But we actually managed to get on shore, and I don't think anybody had been fishing on shore for years and years and years. Beautiful sandy beaches and casting into the breaking waves, not knowing what kind of fish you were going to get. And I think, have you got the clip of this?
I have got a clip of it. So do you want me to show the clip?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get that clip.
There we go. Oh, he's dropped it again. He didn't know. Wow. What excitement. 2 or 3 of them there all together. I lost one, then lost another and got this one. And look at them go. Look at it go right out into the surf. Wow. Whoa. Can't stop it. I don't have to take some scorching runs. I now realise why Trey takes such care with it. All the knots and the terminal tackle. Right, let's see if we can slide this one up the beach a bit. Wait for a wave to bring him up. Oh yes, that's a lovely blue star trevally. Hey, what do you think of that? Is that not a beautiful, beautiful fish? Wonderful shape, fantastic colour. Matches the sky and the ocean.
Oh, fantastic. That was fantastic fishing. That's a fish called a blue star trevally. It's one of, I think, quite a few species of trevally, but you could catch them quite close inshore on the fly. Absolutely fantastic sport.
And the thing is, Paul, is this destination you went to, it was an exploratory trip. So how many people had fished the Clipperton Island?
Not many. Not many. The boat that we got came from San Diego. It was a large boat. And in fact, the fishing there is closed now. You can't get there. So that's kind of historic footage of fishing a destination that is no longer available to get to. It was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Never saw a plane, a boat, or anything for all the time that we travelled down there and back. It was total solitude. Fantastic.
Oh, it looks so remote, but I also understand as well that you were actually catching world records whilst you were fishing there.
Yes, there's a fish called a rainbow runner, and I think the world record for it was something like 10 pounds or 10.5 pounds. And one of the guests on the boat was Steve Abel, who's a very famous American angler. He is a reel maker and all of that. And I caught a rainbow runner that weighed about 11.5 pounds. And Steve said, "Hey, Paul, you got a world record there. You got a world. Oh, hang on, I got a fish on." And his weighed 12.5 pounds. So I had a world record for about 8.5 minutes. That's long enough.
Well, the thing is that you started in Scotland, and then obviously you started to just drift around the world, didn't you, on destinations? You've also got the Trevally fishing as well. I'm just going down here on the list. The bluefin Trevally. That's
the Blue Star Trevally that we got in Clipperton.
Okay, sorry, tarpon. We've got tarpon coming up next. I do apologize.
Tarpon's Florida.
Okay, should we just show tarpon in Florida? Because I love this.
The great thing about this show is that Ricky was filming George Wood and Richard Stanzik, our guests, and in the distance you can see suddenly a huge splash, and this tarpon comes out and smashes a bait.
And everyone, watch the bit where Paul is asked to move his bag, and just the way you pick your bag up and you're still playing a fish is just absolute gold. So let me just show everybody this one.
Like a man who's decisive like that.
Go, tarpon.
Tarpon on you, Paul.
Real Paul. Real Paul. Real Paul. Real Paul.
What a take! Right, he's off. He's off and running. What a take! Just straight out the water over the bait. Whoa! Third time we've hooked him.
Move this stuff out of your way, Paul. Paul, if you want to get this fish, you have to listen. Yep. You have to sit down on this right there for me. Move that bag out of the way.
Gotcha.
Please sit down in a hurry.
I'm sitting.
Okay. Right, reel in your slack for me, Paul.
I have no slack.
Reel, Paul, when I ask you to reel.
I'm reeling.
Just reel like I asked you. Just reel, Paul.
Yep.
Keep going.
Fantastic bite.
Oh, you're doing beautiful work, mate. Just keep it up.
This is fantastic. Right.
Now the battle starts, my brother.
Now the battle starts.
Absolutely.
I'd say he's over 100 pounds, George.
I'd say he's about 135, 140. I'd say he's a full event.
And George Wood, who was one of the guys on that, George actually jumped into the water and cradled the fish. And he said, Paul, I'll give you $1.50 for it. I said, how do you mean? That's 150. So that was the weight of the fish. It was about 150 pounds. Huge tarpon. And the tarpon are the kind of ideal TV fish. They're 100-pound herring. They're silver and they jump. Great television.
Well, all I can see is you've got people saying, let's see the fish, because everyone, if you want to see the rest of these clips, you've got to go and get yourself tuned into Fishing TV. They do have a 7-day free trial. And thank you to Ed for putting that on. So we'll also put that at the top of the feed as well. So
I'm not sure all of the programs have been downloaded just yet. I think they're still working on them. But if you persevere with Fishing TV, you'll get there eventually.
Can I just say, everybody, I started off the week with 108 programs. Ed Burgess then told me that they'd actually found a few more, Paul, as well.
Oh, really? I can't wait to look at them because I've forgotten more than I've remembered. So I'm looking forward to seeing them again.
Well, we've got Andy Brittany's just said you're still the best fishing TV presenter.
Andy, behave yourself.
Oh, and honestly, there is so much love here in this feed for you, Paul. It's absolutely fabulous. I have some really lovely people have actually said, Alex McIntosh, and this is going back to a young person. He said, the guy's a legend. He says, I wrote you a letter as a boy, and you sent me back a nice handwritten one back. Was the stuff of dreams back then for the young guy watching all his shows.
Got to do it. You know, that's that. When I was young, I was a young actor, and I met famous people. I met Robert Mitchum, and I got his autograph. And Robert Mitchum's autograph to me and said, "Paul, easiest way is a cert. Play it cool, Bob Mitchum." And I've still got, I got Yul Brynner's autograph and people like that. And I always thought that, you know, if young people were watching the program and took the trouble to write to you, the least you could do was to reply to them. So I'm glad that made an impression on him.
Well, just to let you know as well, is that we've actually been, I was chatting to one of the anglers and he's been in touch with your old school friends, Ross. You organise regular get-togethers and most of the guys were in the same class as you. And so you're going to be having some of your old schoolmates tuning in as well this evening.
Excellent, good. Is that from the George Heriot School for Naughty Boys?
Yes, that one. When you was at school as well, did you go fishing at school? Were you as passionate about it?
Yeah. I used to. I lived in a place called Portobello, which was near the kind of on the outskirts of Edinburgh, and we could get to. I could cycle to a place called Duddingston Loch in about 15 minutes, and I used to do that. I used to go. Not before I went to school, but at the weekend, cycle up to Duddingston Loch with some brandling worms and a float and catch perch. You know, tiny perch. I think for a lot of young boys in that time, the first fish they ever caught was a perch before you went on to trying to catch trout or anything more exotic. So, you know, catching, you know, perch about that size. And occasionally you got jabbed by the spines on their back. Oh yeah, oh, and you put them back in the water. But it was a thrill just to see that float.
Yeah,
going like that up and down.
And I've got Cliff Hoare has said, how did you get into filming fly fishing? Because as you said, you pitched it to the BBC. Quite unique, isn't it? Really, at that time.
Well, it was Ricky and Mike and myself fishing together, as I remember. I may not be totally accurate here, but we sort of said it's a pity there's nothing on the telly for fishing. And Ricky was a news cameraman at the BBC at the time, and sort of went to the commissioning editors and said, "What about a fishing program?" And I think they said, as I say, two old men on a canal bank. And Ricky said, "No, Scotland." So they said, "Go and make a demo." So we did. We made a demo with a bit of trout fishing, a bit of sea fishing, and me fishing in a snowstorm in February or March, with the snow coming past me, dripping on the end of my nose, saying, "Oh, I'm in pursuit of a passion here." And the BBC liked it and commissioned us to do the series. And Ricky said, "Well, I'm a cameraman. Mike, you're you can do the script. Paul, you're an actor. You can do the chat." And that it kind of went on from there. I think that's kind of roughly how it happened. Anyway, no doubt I think people from Ricky said, "No. What happened was something else." But that's roughly it.
Well, we've got obviously Chris Blake says Sean Connery was also from Joppa.
No, Sean Connery was from Newington. That's up in the middle of the town. He wasn't from the seaside, but a viewer.
And Scott Rutherford, good evening, Scott. He said, "Do you remember fishing the River Cowie?"
I do. I was up there making a television show. What was it called? Another Time, Another Place. And I had a day off. So I went out in the evening with a torch and got some worms. And the rest of the cast all came out and we were going, "What the hell are you doing?" So I'm getting worms. And the following day, I went to fish the Cowie Burn at Stonehaven, and I got a 4-pound sea trout, which we took back to what was it called? The motel, the Anchor Motel, I think it was. And they cooked it for us, and we all got a wee bit as a starter.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's good. That's good. Now, I've had Mark Johnston. Honestly, this feed is going so fast, so I apologise to anybody if I've missed you out. Mark Johnston, where did you catch your first fish?
The Leader Water which is a tributary of the Tweed. I used to go, once my parents got a car, we used to go for a run on a Saturday, and we went down to the Leader Water. And I was with my grandfather, who fished what's called a Stewart tackle, which is 2 hooks facing the opposite way and a wee brandling worm. And he gave me the rod and he said, I put that in there. It went down. I felt the fish. I jumped the rod up and I caught this fish, which was about 6 inches long. And that was my first ever trout. And that was me hooked for life.
Wow. And we've got Fraser. He says, where do you fish these days? Are you able to get, well, lockdown stopped, hasn't it?
Well, exactly. It's been difficult. I mean, I used to go up to the Helms, but the great thing about living in Glasgow, as I do, is you can get to the Endrick, you can get to the Teeth, the Forth, the Tay, the Tweed. There's a lot of good rivers that you can get to quite quickly. And also, I'm a member of the Heriots FP Angling Club, and we've got a little loch just above the Lake of Menteith, Loch Rusky, and there's the Lake of Menteith. So there's plenty of fishing around about. And also, just outside the back door there's the River Kelvin, which has now got great runs of salmon going up it. I spoke to one guy last year who had 47 fish off the Kelvin to his own rod over the season. So it's great. These urban rivers are becoming quite clean now. You know, the Clyde and the Kelvin and all its tributaries, the black carp, the white carp, they've all got salmon running them and sea trout and healthy populations of brown trout. So good news there.
And also as well is that we've got to have a little plug for Glasgow Angling Centre here as well, is if you don't want to go fishing, you can just go and sit in the fishing megastore, can't you? Well,
it's fabulous. I mean, for Paul and his pal, Paul Devlin and his pals, what they've created there it's terrific. If you've got any kind of fishing question that you want to ask, there's somebody in the store that you can go to who will tell you what to do. Even if you don't want to ask, just wander about. I love wandering about there because what happens is I get insulted all the time. Oh, here he is again. Oh, shut up. By elderly gentlemen like myself. But the chat's good. And the one thing you can't have if you're like me appearing on television to fish, you can't have a thin skin, because if you've got it, they will pierce it. And of course, you know, there's lots of things that you do that they go, I was watching that program where you lost the rod over the side. What happened with that? Of course, people love it when you make a backside out of yourself, so it's fine.
Well, that's coming at the end, everyone, because I know people are actually asking about this in the feed. So I've got Ian McKellar. Have you done with fishing all over the world?
Well, we're finished making the programs now, so I haven't really done any more fishing since we finished making the programs. I've kind of stuck in Scotland because, you know, having been to Russia, Norway, having been down to, you know, locations in North, Central, and South America, I've kind of caught what I could catch. So I'm actually quite happy pottering around in Scottish waters now.
Well, I have got some footage of Ukanga. And yes, I am. I'm hoping. Okay. So I'm going to show this footage of Ukanga because it is really, really good. And also as well is I'd just like to thank the people who are actually have said some nice comments about me as well. I'm quite surprised. That's really kind. So thank you. Let's play Ukanga because I love this.
Watch the screen.
Oh, he just needs to turn a flank into that strong stream and he's off. Look at that. Right, let's see if we can lead him back in here a little bit. He's just holding in that stream there. It's pretty shallow. Oh, look at the size of him. Look at him. I can see. Oh, he's a big fish. He is a good big fish. But, as ever, this tiny, fragile hook hold, will it? Barbless, double hook. I wonder. Just get my chance here, maybe. He's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I got him. And let's have a look at this. Because this is a good, big fish. Oh, wow. Wow. I'll just take the hook out. It's a very small hook, but it had a good firm hold. There we go. And there he is. What a belter. How's that? How's that? There's a fly called a Yokanga Gold. That's what I'm fishing. And it caught me Yokanga Silver.
Oh,
The thing about it, Anne, is that you never know quite what you've got to say to the camera. I'm kind of on my own there. Ricky's filming it. I've got to get that fish out. And I've got to say something to the camera. The one thing that you might have noticed, there are little bugs flying about. There are a lot of mosquitoes up there, which made it quite uncomfortable fishing. But when you saw the quality of the fish, it was worth a few mosquito bites.
well, can I just say, you've just mentioned Yokanga Gold. We've had, where is it? Okay. Mike Gilly said, what's your all-time favorite go-to flight for trout, please?
Well, it depends where you're fishing. If you're fishing on a river, I'm a great fan of a greenwell nymph. And if you're fishing on lochs, my three fly cast on a loch would be a Cape McLaren, a Soldier Palmer on the bob, and something neutral in a Wickham's Fancy or something like that. But a Cape McLaren is a great trout fly if you're fishing on lochs.
And we do actually now, Munro has just popped in the feed and said, what's in your salmon fly box, Paul?
It's none of your business, Monroe. You've got a fly box of your own, so you look at that.
Oh, and also as well is that obviously Dave Robson says you're making it look so easy, Paul.
No, it's not. I'm telling you, it's not easy. It's I think after you've done it for a year or two, you know how to deal with the camera behind you and what you've got to do with the fish. So I suppose you get used to it, and maybe it does look a bit easy, but it's not easy. You know, hours and hours and hours of fishing to get one fish. You've got to try and play that and land it, and it makes the program. And I remember we did a program on Iceland, and we had done some sea fishing. We had some trout from a loch, but we had no. We wanted a wee salmon at the end, and that was the difficult one to get. And we were going down the river, and we just saw a fish show, and thought, well, we'll see if we can get it. And eventually we managed to get this wee grilse, played it, landed it, showed it to the camera, and that made the tag for the program. So it was always, you know, you're always working hard, because it's not like golf where you can stunt up, you know, a shot. It's fishing and it's live, and you've just got to take it as it happens.
Well, I've just popped in Stevie Munn from Ireland in the feed. You actually did quite a few programs over in Ireland, didn't you?
We did, yes, not enough.
Well, we've also got
spoken to Stevie at the Glasgow Angling Centre. Good guy, Stevie.
Oh, he really is. And we've got Russell Allen. He said, did you ever get a chance to sample Iceland's magnificent sea trout fishing?
No, I didn't, but I've sampled Iceland's salmon fishing and trout fishing. I fished a river called the Minivalleikur, a little beautiful river. And of course, the thing about the salmon in Iceland was that when Hekla exploded, the volcano exploded, the ash kind of virtually killed all the salmon spawning reds, and it's taken years and years to re-establish salmon on the rivers of Iceland. They've done it with feeding bays off the main river, where they keep the par until they smolt, and then they go to sea again, and they feed them up, and the runs have restarted. So it's a marvelous thing in Iceland.
Yeah, and the Atlantic Salmon Trust, they're actually doing an auction at the moment where you can win a prize of going to Iceland for 4 days to go and fish, which, fabulous. Now, you've got Rodrigo's. Obviously, we've got Gary Scott. This is coming in so fast, so I apologise, everyone. You've got Gary Scott saying we need to go and fish on the Teeth. You've got
that's his local river, yes.
It really is, yeah.
Hey, he's been saying that to me for years, and he's never been in touch. So, right, Gary, come on.
Get in touch, Gary. Now, Pud Murray said you can always get the ghillie to pull your line just out of camera shot. What happened there?
I have no idea. I'm not quite sure what he's talking about here, but you're talking about. Yeah, sometimes you need to get a shot to link in between one shot and another, and it could be maybe the line going out, your reel turning. So as Ricky and I always say, this is not a documentary; it's an entertainment. So there are various ways that you can put the thing together. And Ricky, being the editor and knows what kind of shots he needs, said, "I need a shot of the rod bending, or I need a shot of this." Well, we didn't maybe get it when we were playing the fish, but we can organize it so that once it's all put together, it looks terrific.
Have you fished the Annan?
Not for a long time. Not for a long time. I remember the times I used to fish the Annan was when they used to have these big greybacks coming in the autumn, September, October, and November. But these runs have kind of disappeared now, I believe. I used to fish the Annan occasionally for trout, but I haven't been down that way for quite a long time. Unfortunately, Bonnie River.
It is a Bonnie River. We love it. Now, Mike Fox has said, when filming the programs, did you get much time to fish away from the camera as well? So your own fishing, apart from...
No, that we weren't filming there. No, because both Ricky and I agreed that any fish you caught away from the camera was no good to us, because we needed all the fish that we could catch, whether you wanted to edit them in or edit them out. So I didn't really get very much time for pleasure fishing when we were away work, because we were working. If we went to Alaska, we had to try and make 3 programs because of the time and cost implications and things like that. So you didn't get very much time to fish without the cameras.
Yeah, and the thing is that especially when you're fishing for a species that you don't know you're going to catch or not, there's a lot of pressure, isn't there?
Absolutely, there's always pressure on it. Although the great thing again about Ricky was he never put pressure on me. He said, we'll catch what we catch and we'll deal with that. But you're always aware that if you're fishing for king salmon, say, more of which later, or sockeye or something like that, you really had to concentrate and try and catch what you were after, show it to the camera and say, this is what we were fishing for. I remember we did a sockeye program and Ricky put on like ding ding diggy ding ding and cut it in with a salmon jumping. A brilliant, absolutely brilliant sequence. With beautiful the sockeye salmon are quite like our salmon, but they're 6, 7, 8, 9 pounds. So they're great television. You catch them in shallow water, they jump. What more can you ask for?
Yeah. Well, Dan Fraser, and it's great that we've got some sea anglers on here as well. So good evening, Dan. He said his favourite Hooked on Scotland episodes were always you sea angling. Do you ever fish for the salty stuff now?
Not very often, unfortunately. I always enjoyed going sea fishing, especially when we were out from places like up in Orkney. Again, you never knew what you were going to catch. A mull, where we went to the Swinbanks brothers and caught skeet and taupe and marvellous fish like that. But I again, since we've stopped filming, I haven't really done all that much sea fishing. Unfortunately.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
glad you did the program, though.
Well, we've got Alex McIntosh. He said you should revive a Hooked on Scotland special. The demand in the thousands. Please make it happen, Paul.
Well, the thing is, who's going to show it? I think you'd have to get on to Ricky and the production company and say, yes, we're very happy to make a revival special, but who's going to show it? Which television channel is going to show it? Because you've got to have a television channel to show it, to finance it, to make it happen. Otherwise, it's just Ricky and me out there filming. Hopefully, somebody might pick it up, but if they don't, we've kind of wasted our time.
Well, we'll have to crowdfund for you, Paul. We'll get you back. Crowdfunding. Just have a chat with Ed. Now, Paul, people have been asking for this clip. And it's one of those clips that everybody goes, oh, I've got people who've actually commented about this and wanted to see this special clip when we actually told people that you were going to coming on to this. So we've actually got we've got so much on this. Just tell everybody a little bit about what we're going to show when we finish. We're going to finish the show on this.
Right, we're up in Alaska, and the way you're fishing is you're drifting down the river, and you're casting upstream with, it's called boondogging. You've got a lead weight, a 3-way swivel, and on the bait on the swivel, it's kind of like a little quail's egg, which is bored through, and there's a hook on it. And as you come down the stream, it wobbles in front of the fish. And basically, the lead weight occasionally hits a stone, and you go, oh, no, that's a stone. Oh, no, that's a stone. And Mike Moore, the guide, said, "Are you ready, Paul? Are you ready?" I think I said, I'm like a coiled spring. Some pedal.
Well,
yeah. And then, of course, round it comes, and the line stops, and I strike into it, and it's a fish. But I had the line from the reel just between my finger, the first joint of my finger. And of course, when the fish shot off upstream, the line went through my finger and it burned it. So the natural reaction is to go, ah! Let go of the rod went over the side, and the rest is history.
Well, Fred Minchinson said, ask you about the lodge when you lost your rod. Went just after him. You were the talk of the place, Paul.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I don't know about that. But the one thing I can tell you, Mike Moore, the guide, and I said to Mike, the rod's gone over the side. No problem, Paul. No problem. No problem. We will see if we can get out. We've got the oars and everything. So really sorry.
Well, we've got
not a problem. Not a problem. Then, of course, as he bent down to start up the outboard, he forgot his radio microphone was still on, and he went, "Oh my God, what an asshole!"
Well, let's show the clip.
Okay.
The tension's unbearable. Could be anything just waiting to take that cheater.
Be ready right in here, Bill.
I don't think I've ever been so ready, I can assure you.
You look like you're loaded.
A coiled spring here.
You bet. That's the way you gotta be.
There you go. That's a fish there.
Holy shit!
Sorry, Mike.
Holy moly!
Oh. The line went straight through my finger, and it just...
Somebody will pick it up. Boy, she just shot out of there. Hey, Johnny! I just got a rod taken away from me, so watch the lines. See if you can pick it up.
Fortunately, the rod was recovered, with the fish still on the end. It was returned safely to fight another day, thankfully saving most of my blushes.
And in fact, Ricky said at one point, he said, "Is it all right if I use that?" And I said, "Of course, because that's what happened on the day." And it's one of the most commented on things, because people love it when you make a fool of yourself. You know? So
well, Ken said it was in the slough hole on the Atlanta. Obviously.
The Alagnac River. I'm not sure if it was a slough. It might well have been, but it was. There were several boats drifting down, so there was always somebody to talk to, somebody to watching them catching fish and whatever. They're fabulous fishing, absolutely fabulous fishing. You're catching Chinook, the king salmon. Chinook is the Inuit word for the snow eater. And when these Chinook come into the river, that's when the snow starts to melt up in the hills. And these fish go from 20, 30, 40, 50. The world record's about 95 pounds, caught by a local postman who was just having a cast or two after he finished doing his rounds.
Oh, well, Paul, thank you so much for coming on this evening.
Can I just thank everybody who's written in? It's lovely to hear from you, except for the nasty comments. But we had a great time making the programs, and I'm just so pleased that Ed has managed to get them onto Fishing TV, and you can enjoy them all over again.
Well, can I just say, Paul, we've had people from across the globe. We've had no nasty comments in there. Everybody absolutely loves you. The one thing that reading all these comments, and I apologize, I've not been able to get everybody's in there because it's been so fast, is that they are so thrilled that your programs are now going on Fishing TV.
Yeah, brilliant. So am I.
Oh, well, Paul,
I'll have to take out a subscription. Maybe deal with Ed, eh?
Might do. Well, don't forget, everybody, you can get a free 7-day subscription at the moment. They're doing one, and then obviously just sign up and enjoy this. Not only Paul's shows, but there's so much on the Fishing TV channel. So it's definitely worth signing up to. So, Paul, hopefully I'll see you at Glasgow Angling Centre soon.
The next open day, I'll be there.
Oh, or I might get an invite on this fishing trip with you and Gary Scott on the teeth, if I'm lucky.
Well, you'll be luckier than me because he's never invited me yet.
Well, you've had an invite this evening, so you've done well. You've been invited. You've been invited to Chile.
The date and the time, Gary Scott. Come on.
Well, huge thank you to everybody, and a genuine thank you to everybody that's taken the time to leave a message for Paul, to support this, and I really hope you've enjoyed yourself as much as I have, and I'm sure you have as well, Paul.
Yeah, it's been lovely. I'm continually amazed at how kind people are about the shows and about an old man making fishing programs. Thank you very much.
Oh, well, good night, everyone. And enjoy the rest of your evening. And if you're out on the river, tight lines, and let me know at FishPal what you're up to. So take care, everybody. Tight lines.
Yep, tight lines, everyone.